come too far to back down now. Dig deep, stand tall, no fear.
Time has wound down on the road to the 2026 iRacing INDYCAR Thrustmaster Pro Series. And today, one final blast around the short oval at the Iowa Speedway will see us lock in our field of 33 drivers that will go and race on January the 7th and kick off the 2026 championship season. Hi folks, this is the final round of the 2025 iRacing Indy NXT Thrustmaster Qualifying Series live on RaceSpotTV. Arjuna Kankapati with you once more, and one final time this season. Let's go racing. 90 laps on the board, and after the Thanksgiving break, hopefully our drivers rested and in a festive mood, of course, heading into the holiday period. Points-wise, though, there are some drivers who don't need to be here, and if anything, would put themselves in jeopardy if they got themselves in trouble. The likes of Jaden Munoz, the likes of Dan Amor, who surely at this point find themselves comfortably locked in. Question marks will remain about 15th on back. So Jacob Oster, Tamas Shimon, Mateusz Kuzner, Balint Pala, Alexander Russell, Alexander Van der Sant. They're inside of the cut line. Adam Blocker is on the bubble. Top 12 from the inaugural INDYCAR Pro Series will hold on to their championship licenses, and that means the field of 33 will have a minimum of 21 drivers. I say minimum as well, because if any of those top 12 from last year's championship elect not to return, well, Manu Kubo-Torres, Matt Emery, Blaze Andrich, those are the drivers that could still find themselves in with a shout. One drop week does, of course, though, like I mentioned, mean a lot of the drivers who are inside of that top 10, top 15 are comfortable. These drivers have got no such fallback to really wish upon. Two splits of competition, it will be feisty. Glad you're joining us here on the iRacing Esports Network with 2.5 minutes left to go. Now, we did have coverage of the first oval race at the Texas Motor Speedway here on RaceSpotTV. However, technical issues meant that we did not get a chance to watch the last of the short ovals at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. So form book slightly unknown for us all. 2 minutes left to go in qualifying. For the time being, it's Nexus Esports and Esteban Rodriguez, then Vasilios Belitsiotis, the Williams Sim Racing driver. Adam Blocker, Powerslide Motorsports, he's jumped up to 5th as we ride with the Japanese driver Sota Muto. Back onto the back straightaway here at the fastest short track on the planet. Track length just under 0.9 miles. You can see them cut the apron as they run to complete lap 2, which is clearly the fast lap in qualifying. And Sota Muto rises up to 3rd, just behind his Williams Sim Racing teammate. Now, late contenders, keep an eye out for Jeff Drake, keep an eye out for Jacob Oster, Alex Russell, Josh Thompson, and Matt Taylor. There are 5 of these Indy NXT machines, 400 odd horsepower, plenty of downforce as well in their short track configuration, throwing it around the speedway. Up to 14 degrees of banking out through these corners, and you can see Drake runs the high line, builds his momentum up. It's all full focus on lap 2. Watch now as he cuts down low, sweeps that momentum. Jacob Oster has just finished up his warm-up lap as well, so we'll get a benchmark from him. 53 seconds left to go in the session. 90 laps of racing to come. Can Jeff Drake cut the line and find some time? From 23rd to 10th. Bumps Blaze Andrich down. Remember, he's on the bubble. Jacob Oster goes to 11th. Here comes Bosch Thompson. He won at Texas. And while we're not necessarily traditionally used to seeing Team Redline on top on an oval, Thompson has done his fair share of oval racing. 18.269 puts him to 3rd, and now just Alex Russell with a chance to put himself in contention. Although the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver for Tony Kanaan in 2025 does not improve from 25th, he will have a lot of work to do. And Alex Russell, 19th in points coming into the night, is one of those drivers very much on the bubble. The pressure of qualifying is done. And Esteban Rodriguez, fastest of them all in that Nexus Esports number 6, 18.226. Fast enough to get him to pole position. Vasilios Belisiotis, the Greek driver, will be alongside, just 29 thousandths between them. And then Bosch Thompson, a Team Redline driver alongside of Sotomuto in that pink and blue entry. Tamás Simon, the Hungarian with some fans in our YouTube chat. He's got Peter Berryman for company, who's already locked himself in surely. Adam Blocker. He's got teammate Jason Brophy, who will help him out. Brophy not in contention to re-qualify himself in. Kwame Scott could be locked in already, if you ask me, as is Alexander Spett. Jeff Drake, Jacob Oster. Some work for the pair of them to do, although Jeff Drake way down in points compared to Oster. Blaze Andrich on the bubble, as mentioned. Pablo Espes, 11th in points, should be good, while Alexander Van der Santen, 20th in the championship, has got to fight from 15th. Ty Keeler in a very colourful entry rolls alongside, while Anna Klemic and Caleb Brashear make up the front 9 rows. Great to see some of the traditional IndyCar drivers out here in what is a field dominated by IndyCar regulars, you'd say. Rashad Craig and Frank Nguyen share row 10 with Jake Cummings and Nico Wierzbicki, the 11th row of the starting grid. Jaden Munoz, the championship leader, all the way back in 23rd, but this will be valuable championship experience for him on the ovals. Jason Wallet rolls alongside in the Drexel University colors. Alex Russell in that Team Hype machine, 25th. Logan Edwards, 26th. And then Matt Taylor, no time from him. Wondering if that's strategic, trying to keep himself out of trouble. Because remember, cautions are an ever-present threat. And in these Indy NXT machines, yes, they put out some dirty air, but by no means, with 450 horsepower, are they going to truly separate themselves out. Close pack racing is not expected, but it would not be a surprise. Someone in our Twitch chat, is that the Frisky Frankie? Should give the appropriate emphasis on the chat comment. Yes, that is Frank Nguyen, down in 20th. Let's see what he can do. Familiar with these sort of machines, to say the least. Slightly lower powered open wheel. Of course, all on the road to IndyCar. This is the penultimate step, and that's why it serves as the qualifying series for our championship. On board with Adam Blocker for a moment, who is going to be a race engineer for Chip Ganassi Racing in Indy NXT in 2026. He has a chance to fight for the championship in the virtual world before he goes and does it in the real world as well. We'll get 2 formation laps, by the way, so chance to breathe, let the tension simmer slightly, and then let's get ready to go racing. Arjuna Kankipati in the broadcast booth. A big thank you to our producer Hugo, who, without his help and staying up late, would not be able to put this coverage together. So we're glad that we've had your company for 5 of the championship rounds. And don't forget that we are not far away, already into December. And it's going to be a short blast at January the 8th when 2026 INDYCAR Thrustmaster iRacing Pro Series kicks off on the streets of Long Beach. Remember, a field of 33 drivers, 12 locked in from the previous year. And then, of course, the 21 or so that will lock themselves in tonight. High stakes, high drama, and it's here in Iowa at the fastest short track on the planet where things will get settled. Off and away, Esteban Rodriguez leads the field as 3 and 4 are beam. They plunge into turn number 1 behind. Belisiotis, Sotomuto, and then Josh Thompson trying to settle it inside the front 4. Behind Adam Blocker, it is a hornet's nest for the time being as lap 1 gets complete. And for the most part, they are trying to single file. Thompson and Muto, third, still up for grabs as Muto runs that high line, sweeps his momentum onto that back straight. As we've got a spun car, that is Alexander Van der Sant. And the caution not out just yet, and for a driver on the cut line, big drama early doors. So Thompson clears Muto. He's got a fast race car. How feisty do drivers at the front want to be? I'd wager Esteban Rodriguez is pretty comfortable too, although not comfortable on track as Belliciotis cuts down low, almost cuts into the left rear tire. Thompson rides the middle of the track. You can see the seams dividing the different grooves. Look at what happens to Van der Sant as that red car ping-pongs off the wall and drives into the right side pod. On board with Van der Sant. And not much you can really do. Does a good job holding on in those treacherous conditions. Could have been a lot worse. Meanwhile, back on track, Sotomuto on the 5 from Peter Berryman. As now we're almost 3 wide for a moment, and Rodriguez very content to ride down low. Nexus Esports known for their prowess in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. And the rest of the field will stand up and count when we head to a few oval rounds of next year's championship if Nexus are a player. Look at Belliciotis though on the squeeze. Not quite working out for him. And meanwhile, Muto on the other side of the track, all the way up high, looking for some clean air on the nose. Josh Thompson's car looking decidedly more professional than the one shown on that graphic. Tell you what, right now he's just sitting and plodding. There's no pit stops expected in this race. Really what they're trying to do is save a little bit of that tire and hold on in those closing stages. So Alexander Van der Sant's the only driver that's dropped off the queue. And he could become a lapped car sooner rather than later. Belliciotis pops his front wing in front as they head into turn 3. Mentioned it wasn't going to be a true pack race, but draft not letting them separate. Yeah, not 2x2 or even 3x3 through the field. Staying relatively tame for the time being. And so big movers, well, Nico Rosbicki is up 9 spots in the Drago Racing 27. He just snuck into this top split, so remember, the multiple splits determined by the driver's I rating, that strength of field and the I rating in the field also determines how many championship points will be on offer. And for Nico, 31st in the championship standings, that's exactly what he wanted. Big losers, well, Van der Sant obviously, but Pablo Espez is also being pretty steady as Thompson and Belliciotis squeeze one another down the back straightaway. People talking about in the Twitch chat whether this looks real or not. You know, there's some days that, you know, I agree that I can't quite, I can clearly tell, I should say, that the difference between iRacing and reality. But for those that know me, I get to pit lane report with the team at IMSA, commentate on Mustang Challenge and Carrera Cup Asia as well. But I was talking to John Doonan, president of IMSA once, and I showed him what was happening in one of our IMSA esports practice sessions, and he pulled his son over just to show him, you know, how realistic and close to what happens out there in the real world with the camera angles and the way the suspension, in particular on iRacing, moves around. I think that's one thing that iRacing has done a great job of capturing. And now that, of course, we've got the weather, the rain, of course, not going to rain on an oval, and see the green flag continue to fly. It would be red flag conditions for sure, but it's an interesting prospect potentially for our road course races in the series. And of course, we start at Long Beach, head to Portland, and then our first oval will be a trip to Indianapolis on January the 22nd in the iRacing INDYCAR Thrustmaster Pro Series. If you squint hard enough, it looks real. Yeah, there you go. Take my contact lenses out. Alex Russell's fought his way up to 14th. That's important for him. Remember, he was right on that cut line coming into the night. Problem is, in that second split, which we do have coverage from our friends at P1 Broadcasting if you want to catch what's happening there, but there could be some championship players who are gaining, losing points, but you won't quite know till the end. Back on board with Berryman. Watch the understeer. It's a couple of car lengths back, so shouldn't be dealing with too much of the dirty air, but that's interesting. Just listening as he sweeps through. All very calm for the time being. Is this the calm before the storm? Now, Muto's gone back on offense as the cloud cover sits on the track. It is a very cool day, if you were wondering. It's the coldest you can get in terms of air temperature, 65 odd Fahrenheit. But the track temperature, so air temperature cool, track temperature relatively warm but somewhat toasty, 86 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius. Beliziotis clears Rodriguez. I think for the time being, as we work lap 23, some big movers. I think there's just people riding, waiting for a caution. Maybe that will set some chaos off. 3 wide, Tyquila's in the middle of it. Oh, gets then chopped off by Jaden Munoz, who will slide into the wall. And there is the caution. If you don't believe in the commentator's curse, there you go. And poor Jaden Munoz, who fortunately championship leader surely already, with the dominant season that he's had, locked himself in and potentially already won this championship. Went to the inside, went aggressive, and I think slides up in front, and then a bit of contact between them is what sets it off. So this is the view on board from the Texan. So understeer in the dirty air, down to 4th gear, bang, bit of contact into the wall. Yeah, it's right front to left rear. Right, so, as we try and get situated behind the pace car, I was about to say, do we see any takers onto pit lane? Answer is 7th on back, almost in unison. It's only Kwame Scott in the Nexus Esports #1, denoting him as the highest I-rated driver in the field, electing to stay out from 7th on back. Everybody else will make their way into pit lane, and a tight pit lane as well. Adam Blocker will have the first pit stall exiting off in this race. But it's Alexander Spetz. Then, his team manager directly behind him, Nico Wojbicki, Jacob Oster, Adam Blocker, Jason Brophy, Blaze Andrich, Alex Russell, Jeff Drake, Tyquila, Frank Nguyen, Logan Edwards, Rashad Craig. Top 20 out on track now. I said no pit stops, but yeah, no pit stops unless we see cautions, in which case they're not coming in for fuel. They are purely in for a fresh set of those tires. Here's the view from the pace car, with Vasilios Beliziotis leading the field now after slipping past Esteban Rodriguez. Not even 1/3 into this race, and it's been fairly feisty at times, but nothing too physical. Alexander Van der Sant, the biggest winner in this caution cycle, although of note, Pablo Espes did sit in pit lane for about 32 seconds. So either that was some damage repair, or he had to answer the call of nature. Now this is not a particularly long race for somebody that has done his fair share of endurance racing, so my assumption is likely a little bit of damage. And we saw the 3, the 4 wide on occasion. So, yeah, heart of the pack definitely could have been some drama. And Espes qualified in 14th position. Basically smack dab in the middle of all the madness. Let's try this again. Can we get more than about 26 laps before the caution flies? Eliciotis, Rodriguez, Muto, Thompson, Berryman, the top 5. Basically, the entire top 6 is flipped around inside to outside from where they started. Why don't we take in the sights and sounds as we get ready to go racing here in the season finale of the INDY NXT iRacing qualifying series. Well, they say cautions breed cautions. Jason Wallet, Pablo Espes, Matt Taylor, they're all tangled up. Not a particularly great restart from the Nexus Esports car that we were riding on board with. I tell you what, we'll try that again to take in the restart when we get back underway. But cautions do breed cautions, so slightly fearful now for what we could be in for. Here's a look. So green flag flies. Wallet in the Drexel University colors. Oh, bam. And so Espes and Taylor get tangled up separately. Look from up high. So Taylor checks up, Espes doesn't. Bang. And Matt Taylor, he was not really in contention to make it into the top 21 in the season-long points. Pablo Espes in 11th already, likely locked in. I say likely because, you know, race control could look at stuff from today and decide that it's worthy of punitive action. These drivers could say something publicly between now and then that removes their eligibility. There's all sorts of things that could change between now and the championship season starting. Hope our safety car topped off on some fuel, or if it's an electric safety car, some juice, because we may need its services for a little bit more time for the remaining 60-odd laps of the race. At 60 becoming 59 laps to go as we cross the line once again. So Arjuna Kankipati in the broadcast booth, Hugo Luis in the production room. And with the lights off on the pace car, let's try this one again, shall we? As hopefully a bit longer of a green flag run. Second caution in quick succession here at the Iowa Speedway. The fastest short track on the planet. It says it on the gantry. It must be true. And surprisingly, Williams Sim Racing really have figured out the setup, you know? Known more for their road racing prowess. GT3s and prototypes, but Beliziotis and Muto will punch the throttle and get us back underway next time by, because I thought the lights were off, but no. Got myself all excited. In terms of those that elected not to pit, well, Anna Klemic has dropped behind two of the drivers that are on fresh tires. Everyone else didn't really have enough time to make any room through the field. So it's still Jacob Oster then in 11th who will try and charge his way forward. But keep an eye out for Alexander Spetz in 8th position as well. Lots of virtual fans here on a Thursday evening / afternoon. Jaden Munoz has requested a medic, but I think, Jaden, what we need to do is go and get you a spot, maybe trackside. Grab a grill, enjoy the rest of this one. Let's turn the wick up once more. Racing from the Iowa Speedway. Sotomuto not quite on time with his teammate up front, but he holds off Esteban Rodriguez. Meanwhile, Josh Thompson, Peter Berryman, big gap between the two of them. And now a side-by-side battle as Alexander Spetz makes the fresh tires work and pulls to the outside of Kwame Scott. Not working well enough to slide through for the Swede. Coming off a season in the Clio Cup Bohemia, running the Drago Racing livery. How cool was that to see? Berryman with the fastest lap of the race, but in front of him it's Thompson on the prowl. Not quite alongside of Rodriguez. So 5 sit in pit lane. Blaze Andrich, Pablo Espez, Jason Wallet, Matt Taylor, and Jaden Munoz. Here comes the run from Thompson. Oh, but he was out of draft as they slingshotted off the corner. And all of this allowing Berryman to close, now within 2 car lengths. Maybe less as they cross the line. Spetz to the inside of Kwame Scott. He's up to 7th now. Fresh tires working for him. Long way around for Peter Berryman. Not going to quite work out there. It's going to put him under pressure from those behind, Tamas Simone included. Nope, because Simone's under fire from Spetz. And look how easy he's made it look. 1, now 2, in consecutive corners. And barely a feather of the throttle as he bobbles down at the apex of turn 1. And make that 3 and 4 corners slide past Esteban Rodriguez. No one else making the fresh tires work as well as Spetz right now. Remarkable. Spetz's teammate on the hunt moving forward, so is Adam Blocker. But here comes the Swede. Lift early, that's the motto that some of these road course aces are having to learn. Josh Thompson, lots of momentum, nowhere to channel it. Here comes Spetz to the middle. Pulls into the draft of Sotomuto. But this is where the long way round stalls him out. He'll have some momentum on the back straightaway. And he pops himself in front for a moment. This could work out as they head back up to turn 1. Muto helping Thompson for a moment now, feeding him some draft, but it's too little too late, surely. Spetz alongside of Muto for a sec. Not quite 3. Spotter only having to say 2 wide. And Spetz with the confidence with the Firestones underneath him to rip the outside, and now up to 2nd. Just Vasilias Belitsiotis in front of him. Arc the corner, use that draft to build up the momentum. Belitsiotis does all he can, Spetz overcommits, and oh, the big one! Thompson, Muto, and one more loses the front wing. Oh my days. 3 cautions, and on the precipice of hitting the halfway mark, things slow down once more. So did the Swede lose it by himself, or was there a helping hand? Let's see. Oh, I just overcommit. Thompson tags Muto into the barrier on the outside, and then bang, that next car comes through with no real checkup. these cars don't have a weight jacker like the Indy cars do, the Dallara IR-18s. That helps to move the balance of the car a little bit more. And Alexander Spets maybe with just more clean air than he was expecting, lifting a bit too aggressively potentially, and that's what upset the car. Now, how many will see what Spets was able to do and head to pit lane for tires? Well, a lot is the answer. On board with Berryman. And Moses, oh, the C's just par. Up to second for a moment. Although instantly gives up that ground, heads to pit lane. So Beliciotis from Rodriguez. Only 2 drivers out front yet to pit. Anna Klemic is also yet to make a trip down pit lane, stubborn in that fashion, if you will. But Nico Wojbicki, Adam Blocker, Jacob Oster, and crucially, Alexander Russell stay out and gain crucial track position. Race off of pit lane. Berryman, Simone, Kwame Scott, Jeff Drake, and then Jason Brophy. As the used car lot in pit lane, boy, it is getting big. So Berryman goes from second all the way to 11th position. Very keen to grab fresh tires based on what Alexander Spets was doing. So we'll have probably, I would assume, 40 laps to go when we get back underway. Lights should go off on the pace car next time by. Alexander Russell, my goodness. Now, I am a Powerslide Motorsports member, however, to go from the back to 6th position, he's doing a great job. Other drivers on the cut line, well, Manuel Cubo Torres isn't in this top split, so it's hard to judge. Neither is Matt Emery. Blaze Andrich, unfortunately, was involved in a contact, so 24th in points. Unfortunately, think things are done for him. Mitch Welker's not in this top split either. And neither is George Griffiths, Rafael Leon, Cam Wilson, Matt Caruana, and then all the way down to 30th in Logan Edwards, who is in this race, but 16th on track. So Russell doing what he needs to. Same with Adam Blocker, who is the driver on the cut line in this race, 21st in the championship points. Right, let's do this once more. Lights off, 40 laps will be left to go. And from the fastest short track on the planet, Vasilios Beliciotis continues to pace the field. A couple of cars go up high as we get back underway. Turn up the sound of the Indy NXT machines here at Iowa. Behind Alexander Van der Sant, Ty Keeler, Jake Cummins almost come to blows. Peter Berryman checks up his momentum to avoid running into the both of them. And we survive the first green flag lap after the 3rd caution comes to an end. Ty Keeler still on the inside. Jake Cummins once again left up high. And now Berryman will start the freight train on the low line. Simone's, Kwame Scott, Jeff Drake all trying to make some headway too. But as Jacob Oster punches in the fastest lap of the race, have the shackles being let loose. Berryman up the inside and up to 9th. Bullies his way past Ty Keeler on the exit. Fighting at the front, but I think those drivers have just got to keep their noses clean. Oh, Esteban Rodriguez is there as they head in towards 3. Behind him, Blocker, Oster, Russell, Van der Sant. 3 of those drivers teammates. Blocker, Russell, and Van der Sant will all be on a Discord call somewhere talking through strategy. In front of them, they see the side-by-side, they see the leader run away. What do they want to do? through all of this. Jacob Oster as well, looking like he is going to guarantee himself a second crack at the INDYCAR Pro Series. Did not feel as though he was able to put the full season together last year. Still maximizing his speed as a road course racer. His speed on the ovals is not in question for a scientist who's been involved in some experiments that have gone up to the International Space Station. Look how close Rodriguez is as they arc into 3. Opens up the steering to really just carry that momentum down to the apex. And that lead, lap by lap, 10th by 10th, growing as we run. Will be a second next time by, if not this time at the line. Indeed, yes it is. These two putting on a great show, but Belliciotis getting exactly what he wants. Oh, and now a chop down. Rodriguez didn't see that one coming. And where will Blocker, Oster, and Russell thrust their momentum? Because guess what? Berryman on those fresh tires, he's joined the fun. Anna Klemic and Jeff Drake, they swap for 10th and 11th positions. Almost 3 wide. Here comes Blocker in the Grabber Blue. On board with Berryman on the bottom of your screen. As the Apex Racing team driver holds the steering and just searches for his path forward. Blocker should be able to clear Kwame Scott, or rather Esteban Rodriguez, in that Nexus Esports machine if things play kindly through turn 1, and indeed Oster will follow suit if he can, but not given the room. And now lots of speed from Berryman on those fresh tires. Rodriguez's tires are 62 laps old, Berryman's tires 14 laps old, and Oster's tires 36 laps since he left pit lane. Rodriguez almost got alongside of Blocker as they head into 3. This is close. Close quarters combat, to say the least. Berryman's going to slingshot past Blocker. Now trying to time the run to follow Rodriguez. Yellow. Oh, Taikilo's lost the rear wing, which is perfectly detached right at the connection anchors, if you will, on the rear deck. Oh, he just gets a tag, and then slowly the rear end slides into the wall. And a nice green flag run, unfortunately, comes to an end. Probably 24 laps left to go, and this is the thing. If you're Esteban Rodriguez, there's only 18 cars on the lead lap now. Look how quickly Berryman's been able to fight his way up towards the front. Is it worth getting those Cooper tires off? Or Firestone tire, excuse me. Well, tell you what, the fact that Adam Blocker has come in tells us a lot. Oster, Russell, Van der Zandt, Drake, Brophy, Klemic, Keeler, Craig, Cummings. Look at the split. So Belliciotis, Ujbicki, Rodriguez, Berryman, Simone, Squat, Nguyen, excuse me. And then Brashear. And Logan Edwards, let's not exclude him as well, now that he's cycled past the start-finish line. They stay out. They've got relatively worn tires, although really it's Belliciotis and Rodriguez with the oldest. Blocker leads the field off pit lane. Russell then behind him, Van der Zandt, Oster, Drake, Brophy, Craig. And this really probably is the final window to do a driver change, you'd think. Because if we get a caution in 10 laps time, well, that will really only leave a 10 lap shootout at most. maybe interrupted with more cautions, right? So I think chopping and changing, we'll see plenty of that. Someone do the math, or someone could do the math, and I think you'd find that the safety car is probably going to lead the third most laps today. Beliziotis, Rodriguez, they've led the most laps between the two of them. There's no question between that. But one more caution. And the pace car driver could challenge Rodriguez in terms of laps led today. So lights go off this time by. It will be a 22-lap shootout to the end. Yes, lights off. So, lengthy caution periods. Changing the complexion slightly. 4 cautions, by the way, if you're just joining us. Not the most, but definitely attrition has played its part. Alexander Spetz, Josh Thompson, Sotomuto, Blaze Andrich, Pablo Espez, Jason Wallet, Matt Taylor, and Jaden Munoz. Those are the IL-15, the Dallara Indy NXT sitting in pit lane and watching to see who locks themselves into the 2026 iRacing INDYCAR Thrustmaster Pro Series. Pace car off and away once more. An early jump from Beliziotis. Big gap between him and the chasing pack. Out of blocker already alongside of Logan Edwards as they chuck it into turn 1. This big gap is really going to compress the field at a rate of knots with the draft playing its part, you'd think. So Blocker the first of the fresh tire runners. Rodriguez inside of the Drago Racing 27 and peels himself up into second. What this restart has done is made it a bit more difficult for Blocker to make those fresh tires work. But now, as they start to compress, he'll start to get his opportunities. 20 to go. Thought about a lunge up the inside of Logan Edwards. Wasn't quite there. Meanwhile, Beliziotis is once again cleared away in the front of the field. They're going to be fanning out 3 wide. Big loser in all of this is Nico. Does not want to get involved in an incident, but then cuts down low. Fights with Kami Scott. I think he realized he put himself on the outside in the wrong position. That would mean, though, that Peter Berryman's in the wrong spot, high-footed, with Rodriguez 3 wide behind them. Down low, big send from Caleb Brashear. And it's really starting to kick off. Here comes Blocker. Through on Logan Edwards already. Now through on Frank Nguyen too. Berryman in front of Rodriguez, and the Hornet's Nest just continues to antagonize one another. Can you feel that tension? Blocker, you hear the crunch of a car scraping against the wall. 450 horsepower at their disposal, and Blocker gets pushed to the inside. Not quite settled with Frank Nguyen. Meanwhile, 15 laps to go at the front of the field becomes 14. These are quick laps. Quicker in an IndyCar. Looks like Blocker has run out of steam for the time being. Although a big block, that's the Drago Racing 27 in front of him. Nico Rosbicki slips and slides. He's just about holding on. Top of your screen. Berryman starting now to close on Belliziotis within a half a second. Berryman has been the bastion of consistency with the exception of one bad round, which all started with an internet issue that put him at the back of the field. Short time remaining. Any caution from this point leaves us with a true sprint to the end. Kwame Scott, Esteban Rodriguez, they swap 5th and 6th positions. It'll be 10 to go at the line. Berryman has closed on the leader. And now suddenly the Williams Sim Racing driver looking over his shoulder, left and right. Which way does Berryman go? So much experience in the iRacing Indy 500 for Peter Berryman, even if he's not an oval specialist. They've got Tamás Simon, the Hungarian driver, who, forgive the pun, is hungry right now. 16th in points, not locked in. This is a result that will give him that confidence. Short time remaining, and Adam Blocker has got past the 27, now trying to get past Esteban Rodriguez. Excuse me, scratch that, still side by side with the Drago Racing machine. Alex Russell, his teammate, is protecting on the outside though. That's the benefit of having some friends around you. And one more Powerslide Motorsports member in the train, Alexander van der Sat, in that white and purple machine. He fights with Kwame Scott. Short time remaining, and this has been race of the season in my opinion. This is what short ovals are all about. Belliziotis has once again got himself well and truly established in the point of this field. Caleb Brashear has run a wonderful race, taken advantage of this track position, but might be too little too late. 35th in the points coming into the night. Top 21 will lock themselves in, and then the rest wait on their tiptoes to be called up as an alternate. We have got 4 laps to go. Peter Berryman still searches on the high line, but has found no way through on the wall that is Belliziotis for the time being. Adam Blocker still stuck in 7th spot as well. What a brawl they are having behind this leading group. The peloton not losing much ground either. Time is winding away, 2.5 laps. About to be just 8 corners left to figure this out. And Caleb Brashear has just joined the party with that momentum. Limited in their in-car tools compared to the INDYCAR, but they deal with the understeer, they deal with the dirty air, they deal with the worn tires. 1 lap left to go. Belliziotis has led the most laps, but there's only 1 lap that really counts. Oh, Tamás Simon almost gets ran into by Brashear, who really had some speed. Behind that second group is going to have a photo finish of their own, but can Berryman time this run? Oh, contact! Sent into the catch fencing with Brashear and Simone as well. Belliziotis wins in dramatic fashion here at the Iowa Speedway. Where's Bicky second, Rodriguez third, Blocker in 4th. Russell, van der Sat surely do enough as well to lock themselves into the championship. Oh my goodness gracious me. And now, bated breath, we wait to see who has locked themselves in. So once again, he just loses the rear end. I mean, it's as soon as he pops out of that draft and it almost like stalls the car out there. Wow. And then this, I mean, what? Peter Berryman had the Moses moment before. Well, unfortunately, finds himself on the wrong side of it this time around. Quick look at our results. Provisional as race control, I'm sure we'll take their look through a couple of different things, but Belliciotis, what a result for the Williams Sim Racing driver, showing that they should be counted on the ovals when the season gets underway. Drago Racing's Nico Rosbicki in second, Esteban Rodriguez for Nexus Esports then in third, with Adam Blocker leading the trio of Powerslide Motorsports drivers, Alex Russell and Alex van der Sande as well, all into the show, you would think, after being on the cut line heading into the night. Jacob Oster has locked himself in for a second consecutive Pro Series, while Kwame Scott, Jason Brophy and Jeff Drake, your top 10. Frank Nguyen from 20th to 11th, he'll be relatively happy with that, while Rashad Craig ends up in 12th, just in front of Anna Klemic, Logan Edwards and Caleb Brashear. Jake Cummins down in 16th, Tamas Shimon and Peter Berryman 17th and 18th. They'll be frustrated, but at this point, for Berryman, he should be comfortable. Tamas Shimon will be nervously waiting for those final results. Ty Keeler, Alexander Spetz, 19th and 20th. Spetz already locked in from the results of the championship. Sotomuto as well as Josh Thompson, while Blaise Andrich, unfortunately, the journey ends for him. Pablo Espez, we'll see him in January. Unfortunately, we won't see Jason Wallet or Matt Taylor. We will see the Texan, Jaden Munoz. Well, tell you what, chance for my voice to take a bit of a breath. And what I will also do is give a bit of a plug for this weekend and next weekend, where on RaceSpotTV on the Performance Racing Industry channels, we have the PRI Hoosier 500, the biggest community Indy 500 event, and so much of the ceremony that makes the real-world Indianapolis 500 so special, replicated in the sim. We have qualifying this weekend. Whole day coverage on 7 p.m. Saturday, bump day 7 p.m. Sunday, 1 hour of primetime coverage, and then the following Sunday, 11 a.m., the race coverage itself. What a wonderful finish to this championship season. And now our field of 33 will be locked in. Still waiting for the final results from iRacing. Unfortunately, we don't have time to sit here and wait to figure out who they will be. But you can join the team at iRacing on the iRacing Esports Network January the 8th. Streets of Long Beach to start the 2026 iRacing INDYCAR Thrustmaster Pro Series. But for Hugo Luis, our producer, Arjuna Kakipati, signing off. What a wonderful iRacing Indy NXT Thrustmaster qualifying series it was, and the best race left to last. Iowa signs off as 33 drivers lock in their championship aspirations for 2026. See you next time.